欢迎收看今天的节目。在今天的节目当中，我们特别为大家邀请到是 CCDC 华协中心的行政总监Malcolm Yeung来到我们节目当中，一块来欢迎他。Hello, Malcolm.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So before we talk about our topic, could you please tell us a little bit about your background of CCDC?
Sure. So I first joined Chinatown Community Development Center in 2009. And I joined to do some of their policy and advocacy work around housing and tenants' rights. Before I joined Chinatown CDC, I was an attorney at a place called the Asian Law Caucus. And so I had had about 6 years of experience working in the community before I went to Chinatown CDC in 2009. After I got to Chinatown CDC, I took 1 year away to work for Mayor Ed Lee in 2011 to start some of his housing policy work. Came back in 2012, and in 2020, I was selected to succeed Reverend Norman Fong as executive director. So I've been executive director for a little over 4 years now.
So can you tell us a little bit about history and the mission of CCDC?
Sure. So CCDC was founded in 1977, and it was founded in response to a crisis that the community was facing, which is that, and a lot of people don't know this, but the current downtown financial district actually used to be a Filipino community, and it looked very much like Chinatown. And in the 60s and 70s, that Filipino community was being destroyed by the downtown expansion. So a lot of real estate developers were buying single-room occupancy hotels, they were evicting and then building the high-rises. So Chinatown saw that happening, and a lot of the Chinatown leaders, including student activists, decided that they wanted to protect Chinatown and make sure that Chinatown wasn't erased and destroyed like the Filipino community. And we did a lot of work around community planning, which led to the Chinatown Master Plan in 1986. And that has really been the land use and zoning legal sort of structure that has helped Chinatown not get demolished and turned into high-rises.
So during these past years, what role did the CCDC play in the Stop the Hate movement?
Sure. One, we've done a lot of work just supporting our residents and constituents who have faced attacks to get adequate services. Whether that is adequate response from the police, adequate response from the district attorney's office, social services in response to injuries or other things that they may be facing, and sometimes even helping them to find alternative housing if they're scared to go back home because the incidents have traumatized them so much. We've also done a lot of work around trying to build relationships among our residents to promote, I think, a greater understanding between our people of color communities. While our name is Chinatown CDC, we were born in Chinatown, and still 60% of our residents are Asian American and primarily Chinese American. 40% are a diversity of white, black, Latino. And so we knew that in terms of our buildings, our residents, it was important to fulfill that building community mission, to look at programs that can try to bring people together across races, across ethnicities, across culture, just so we understand each other and we understand each other's stories and histories. And then on a leadership level, Reverend Norman Fong, I think, was really a leader in trying to create a relationship, particularly with the African American community. And for him, a lot of that was done through his faith-based relationships as a reverend. He spent a lot of time with other religious leaders in San Francisco. He was a board member of the San Francisco Interfaith Coalition for years until he retired from CCDC. And I've tried to continue that work, not so much with religious leaders, because I'm not a reverend, but to continue that work with other community leaders in the African American and Latino communities here in San Francisco.
So what kind of service or assistance did the CCDC provide to a victim of hate?
So in 2017, we're contacted by the Community Tenants Association, who's a longtime ally of ours and who we try to support as much as possible. One of their members, a 74-year-old woman, had been brutally assaulted and raped in her unit here in San Francisco. You can imagine coming out of an incident like that, how much trauma that you're facing. She was facing physical trauma because, from what I recall, she was raped so brutally that her hips were broken, and so she had to go to the hospital. She, of course, faced behavioral and mental health issues because an incident like that is going to scar you no matter what. And there were also just a plethora of other social service needs that were required. For us, though, where we really jumped in to try to help, though, was that she did not want to return to her home. And I think everybody can understand why. When you're attacked like that and brutally in your home, it's a scary place then. And so we spent almost 6 months working with her to try to find a replacement housing unit. We checked our own housing stock, we checked what was available in the city, and what we realized was that while we were eventually able to find her a new place to move to, the amount of effort it took, the amount of expertise it took, the amount of, frankly, relationships that we had to pull on in the city to find a new home for this woman who had been so brutally attacked was overwhelming. And it was clear to us that there was no way, that a monolingual immigrant is going to be able to face these kinds of things on their own, and they need to have support from the community around them. So ever since then, we've always thought, what does that mean? Because while we do a lot of work around community public safety, we don't do as much work around individual victim support. And judging from this one incident, the amount of effort it took was astronomical. So we started thinking, along with some partners in the community, what can we do? What can we build? What can we create to make sure that the Chinese community has an infrastructure to support victims so that they're not on their own whenever these types of things happen to them?
Thank you for bringing up all this information. Let's take a break from here.
Sure.
Yeah. 好，那非常谢谢观众朋友收看。